She was the most powerful battleship Germany ever built, armed to the teeth, cloaked in secrecy, and haunting the Arctic seas like a ghost. The Tirpitz, sister to the doomed Bismarck, was a floating fortress designed to dominate the North Atlantic. But instead, she spent her life hiding, surviving, and waiting. This is the story of the Tirpitz, a warship that waged psychological warfare from the shadows, and whose destruction took years of effort, sabotage, and some of the biggest bombs of World War II. Laid down in 1936 and commissioned in February 1941, the Tirpitz was the second and final ship of the Bismarck class. At over 250 meters long, she displaced 52,600 tons when fully loaded and carried 8 15-inch guns, 12 5.9-inch secondary guns, over 60 anti-aircraft weapons, and could reach speeds of 30 knots. She wasn't just large, she was engineered for battle. Reinforced with thick armor, radar systems, and massive fuel storage, she was designed to project German power into the North Atlantic and challenge British naval supremacy. After trials in the Baltic, Tirpitz was sent north. Her destination, the rugged, snow-covered fjords of Norway. From hidden anchorages like Kafjord and Altafjord, she would become a constant menace to Allied Arctic convoys bound for the Soviet Union. Unlike her sister Bismarck, Tirpitz rarely saw open combat. Instead, she played a role known as a fleet in being, a powerful force that affects enemy movements just by existing. Every time she stirred from her anchorage, Allied convoys were delayed, rerouted, or heavily escorted, disrupting vital supply lines. Her most significant sortie came during Operation Rösselsprung, when Tirpitz and accompanying ships sailed to intercept convoy PQ-17. Though the Germans never directly engaged the convoy, British fears led to the disastrous order to scatter, resulting in 24 of the 35 ships being sunk by U-boats and Luftwaffe bombers. In her only offensive surface action, Tirpitz bombarded Allied facilities at Spitsbergen in a joint operation with the Scharnhorst. It was a show of strength, but far from the decisive naval battles Hitler once envisioned. The British couldn't let Tirpitz linger. Though rarely used, her very presence threatened the entire Northern War effort. So began a multi-year campaign of sabotage, airstrikes, and commando raids to put an end to her. Enter the X-Craft, British midget submarines designed to slip beneath harbour defences. In Operation Source, 3 such craft managed to plant explosive charges under Tirpitz, detonating over 3 tons of explosives. She survived, but suffered massive internal damage, flooding compartments and warping her propeller shafts. Repairs kept her out of action for over 6 months. But the British weren't done yet. On April 3, 1944, the Royal Navy launched Operation Tungsten. Dozens of carrier-based aircraft struck Tirpitz in a surprise raid. They scored multiple hits, destroying her control systems and killing over 120 crewmen. But once again, Tirpitz refused to die. Later that year, the Royal Air Force took over. Using Avro Lancaster bombers equipped with 12,000-pound Tallboy bombs, the British planned to finish what the submarines and fighters couldn't. On the morning of November 12, 1944, a flight of 29 Lancasters took off from Scotland. Their mission: destroy Tirpitz once and for all. She had been moved to Troms, more exposed, with less air defense. This time, there would be no escape. 3 Tallboys hit directly. 1 penetrated the magazine. A colossal explosion tore through the ship. Within minutes, the mighty Tirpitz capsized, trapping hundreds of sailors inside. Rescuers could only save about 200 men. Over 900 perished. Though she never fired a shot in a fleet battle, Tirpitz consumed vast Allied resources, dictated strategy, and loomed large in the minds of naval planners. Her legacy is one of deterrence, resilience, and ultimately, futility. A weapon too dangerous to leave alone, but too vulnerable to truly use. In the end, the Allies had to throw nearly everything at her: submarines, aircraft, saboteurs, and the largest bombs ever dropped at that time. Because Tirpitz didn't just threaten ships. She threatened hope, logistics, and victory itself.